Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It is a chilly day today. That rain, it rained like crazy amounts yesterday. That's why I'm not down by the creek. The water's really high and it's just super soupy, muddy down around that area. So I'm gonna let it kind of tone down for a couple of days before I make a video down there. But yeah, we had a lot of rain. We went from really dry, wildfire dry kind of stuff to creeks overflowing over the bridges, all kinds of stuff. That's how it is here in the Ozarks. You never know. We're in the low 40s today, and by the weekend we'll be back up in the 70s. So if you love crazy bipolar weather, then the Ozarks is the place to be. Speaking of just kind of interesting, I guess, to say the least, today's news cycle has certainly been that. A lot of things going on. That probably the top of the list is obviously the big cargo ship that crashed into the bridge there at the Baltimore harbor. I think probably most of you already know about that, but yeah, it brought the whole bridge down, and not good, right? I mean, just on the surface, a large bridge goes down. The last I heard, I think that there's been at least six casualties, six people that lost their lives, which is tragic. Any loss of human life is. And I think they're still looking for potential missing persons there, which, I mean, that would make sense. You know, you don't know exactly who was on the bridge at the time, so it may take a few days before they realize all that were there and which ones are missing and stuff. But you know, that's pretty fairly major port, actually, the Baltimore port there. I think it's the top one that does exporting of coal, which, interesting enough, the majority of the coal that is exported from the United States into Europe comes out of that port. There's also just a lot of other stuff going on. It's very major. And it's unsure right now of how much access, enter and exit access, will happen at that port, because that bridge is down across the whole thing. You can't get in or out right now. So the question is, was this intentional or not? Is this just truly an accident, which is what DHS is saying? They're saying it was just an accident, that they lost control. There's plenty of video floating around of this thing. I am no ship expert. I am no maritime expert. I am no... The only thing I know about it is what you can find out online and that kind of stuff. Watching some PBS documentary when you're a kid. That's about it. But it does look kind of suspicious. The thing was heading in the direction it was supposed to, and all of a sudden it took, I believe it was a left turn, which that's not what you use in shipping. But, you know, for all of us common non-shipping folks, that took a sharp turn and ran right into the thing. All the lights flickered out. They're saying it was just a malfunction. Some are wondering, was it a cyber attack to the ship? The ship's captain is Ukrainian. I don't know if that means anything or not. But the question is this some kind of black swan event? Was this an intentional attack? I don't know. I'm going to guess that most of you think that there's something, that this is more than just accidental. We'll put it that way. More than just accidental. Especially until we know more. And I'm definitely leaning that way also. Especially when you put the everything together, like the whole picture of this type of stuff. You know, you think of all the planes that passenger planes that they've been having problems with. Is that simply just because of poor maintenance, or is there some kind of, some kind of espionage kind of stuff going on? Over the past couple of years, the train wrecks, buildings and factories and warehouses and stuff catching fire and blowing up, all kinds of stuff. And all along, many of us have wondered and questioned, is it possible that the hundreds of thousands of illegals that are pouring across the border every single month, could they be part of that? Or is it some kind of black ops job by some secret government agency entity that's doing this to just cause disruption and havoc? I don't know. But even if those two things aren't happening, it's definitely causing disruption and havoc. America does seem to be under attack. And that's what I've believed all along. I think that we are in World War III. It's just not your standard, typical kinetic, planes bombing and tanks and that kind of stuff, at least not for us on our part. But I believe we are in a state of war, and we should be preparing accordingly to be in a state of war. There's other things. Speaking of the illegals, Joe Biden is wanting to give green cards to a bunch of illegals. If you've been here so many years, then you just get a green card. You're no longer considered illegal, right? New York is giving them debit cards, I think up to $1,400 a month if you're an illegal. Makes me, man, I should just learn some Spanish and go down to Venezuela or something like that and walk my way back into this country. Probably do better off that way. And also the city of New York is trying to petition the government there. The government's petitioning the government. Yeah, I know. To pass legislation allowing the 800,000 undocumented migrants that live in New York City be able to vote. So, yeah, they are trying to vote them in. They are trying to get their votes, which is something that Media Matters said that I was a conspiracy theorist because I was saying that these illegals are getting here. They're allowing them to come across the border partly so that they can get them to be voting. And there it is. It is happening. A lot of things going on in that direction. And then also with the war on overseas in Europe, Russia has said that they believe that the United States, the United Kingdom, and Ukraine are all behind the attack there in Moscow. And I mean, my opinion or my response to that is it's not a big surprise to me, right? Wouldn't surprise me a bit. Things are not going so well, folks. And I know that sounds so poo-poo, so Debbie Downer. It's the doom and gloom guy again. You can call me that all you want, but I'm just stating the facts, the news, the stuff that's going on, and how it is worsening, how it is falling apart. Our leadership is absolutely incompetent, and I guess what little competency that they have is used to be deceiving and corrupt. We have to get ready for this, folks. You know that, don't you? You have to be doing more than just watching these videos. That is something that I have struggled with a long time in making this content, is that I question, am I part of the reason why some people actually aren't prepared? I mean, my goal is to make this content so that it encourages you to prepare. But then there's got to be some, and based on some of the comments that I see occasionally, I think that there are some people that just, they watch this. It's like a drug, not just my channel, but this type of content. And in the end, they're not really doing anything. They complain when you make a video, when you talk about, here, this is what we're doing, or here, this is what you should do. Here, this is what you should grow. This is how you should prepare. They don't want to hear that. They just want to hear all the fear-mongering stuff. They want to hear all the terror, because it's like an addiction. If you're one of those kind of people, you can be offended all you want. Don't care one bit about it. If my opinions offend you, you shouldn't hear what goes on inside my head. I have a t-shirt to back that up. But if you're one of those that's just enjoying watching the content but actually aren't doing anything, then you're wrong, okay? You need to get up out of that chair, put the phone down sometimes, even if you miss a few of my videos, and get out and do something. You need to get out and move, get out and train, get out and get your body in better physical condition. You need to be stocking up on things. You need to go through not just cans and beans and that's important, certainly, but there's other things you need to be stocking up on. Do you have just an adequate supply of just the general needs that you have? What are the things that you use in your home? Do you have that? I mean, do you have enough soap to keep yourself clean? I know that sounds silly, but it's not. If you don't, do you have the means to make soap? How about animals? Can you have some chickens, maybe some goats? What about your garden? You're going to grow one? Do you have enough seeds? Do you have at least 5 years worth of seeds stocked up? Because that's what you should have. Now, of course, every year you should collect seeds from your garden and put those away. But you should have 5 years worth of seeds. And that's not an extreme amount of seeds to have, but you should have them because you just never know. I mean, you may have a bad year, you may have a bad few years. And so you want to make sure you have enough seeds stocked up. Do you have the tools to get the job done around your homestead or just to survive? Do you have that? Do you have relationships with other people around you that share your same ideas, at least in some part, and that you can work together with each other? And maybe you can barter and trade, your eggs for their milk or vice versa. Are they the kind of people that when things get rough, they're going to be there to help you? You fall and you break your leg and now you can't work in your garden anymore. Are they going to be the kind that'll come over and help you out? Maybe they'll be the kind that'll come and to your aid when bad people are coming at you. Because that's going to happen too, because there's been more of that in the news of crimes committed by illegals that have come into this country. That's only going to get worse, folks. History just proves that. When you have a third world group of people that are flooding into a nation, it never ends well. Ever. It never ends well. Crime rates are proving that. Just how it's affecting our society, it's overwhelming. And at some point, and it's probably not too far off in the future, but at some point, yeah, we're going to see things get worse and worse and worse, and it's going to be closer and closer to you. This ship that happened today, it's just another piece in the puzzle. It's big. I think it is. I mean, it's possible. It's just an accident. I get it. It's possible. But I don't think so. I think it's probably as much of an accident as the stuck ship in Egypt was a couple of years ago, as much as an accident as the big grain explosion or whatever it was in Lebanon a few years ago, as much of an accident as the dairy farm that blew up, and it was like, what was it, 18,000 or 100,000? I don't know, however many cattle died in that. And then all the other, the train derailment in Ohio, it was as much of an accident as all of these other things that happened. And regardless of the intent of it happening, the fact is that the consequences of that action are the same. They cause disruption. They show our weakness. They cause chaos and confusion in the people's minds. They're losing faith in their system of government. They see that there's so much happening, so much falling apart, that at some point when someone steps up and says, I have a solution, I can bring peace to all of this. We have the solution. Yes, we know your dollar doesn't buy anything anymore. It's so inflated. It's awful. But we have a solution for that. Yes, we know that the crime rates, that people are being violent all over, but we have a solution to that. We know that food is expensive and it's hard to get to and it's just not available. But we have a solution to that. Eventually, they will prove to show that they have a solution to all of these problems. But that solution will come at a great, great cost to this society and you as an individual. And if you don't want to be caught up in that, if you don't want to become a slave to this new solution, this new great peace deal that's going to happen, if you don't want to get caught up in that, then you need to be preparing. Not just preparing by sticking stuff in your closet or in your pantry, in your basement, and you should be doing that. But you need to be preparing in a way that you don't need that outside help, that you are self-sufficient, or at least as self-sufficient as possible, that you're able to survive adversity, that you really have that grit, that you're able to overcome very harsh times, because I think that those harsh times are coming, folks. Those harsh times are here. And some of it's noticeable, but not all of it is. But at some point, the The wave will be so much, it will be so strong that it will be impossible to not notice those hard times. And when it gets to that point, more and more people will start panicking. It's already happening. There's videos all online about how people can't afford their food, how they're going broke. They can't afford to live in their home or their apartment because it's gone up so much. There's all kinds of videos about how people can't even walk down the streets of Chicago, New York, LA, San Francisco, Portland, because they're terrified because of the drugs and the violence and the things that they see. It's getting worse and worse, everyone says. And at some point we will hit that tipping point. And from there on, it's gonna get bad, and it will be chaotic, and it will be dangerous, and it'll probably be worse than you can imagine. And so instead of waiting for that moment to finally pull yourself up out of that big recliner and putting your phone down, you probably should do that now. You probably should put the effort in now. And take it serious, because these times we live in are serious, and the things that are happening and that will happen will be even more serious. So don't just disregard things as some crazy bearded hillbilly. Search it out for yourself. Look things up. Start having an open mind and think with some logic, and realize that these kind of things don't all just start happening more and more at great repetition at the same time when most of these global elite leaders are telling us that things are going to get worse, are telling us that it's going to be dangerous, that people are going to be angry, that you're going to lose everything, you'll own nothing, and that you will look to them to save. You will look to technology and these great world leaders that have the solution to all the problems. They say it themselves. So it's not really a conspiracy theory. It's just you choose to believe what you want to believe. If you want to survive this and you want to retain your freedom and your individuality, your ability to worship God the Father in the way that you see fit, and to raise your children up in an environment that is not filled with disgusting debauchery and anti-godness, then you probably better be getting your houses in order and becoming self-sufficient and creating an alternative in your life to the mainstream system. It's time that you need to be preparing mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's a holistic approach to preparedness, folks. You need to be doing it now, because I don't think we have a whole lot of time left. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.